Dallas fails, chokes once more. San Francisco moves on to their 12th game in a row, advancing to move on to the NFC Championship for the third time in 4 years. I mean, what are your thoughts on this game, man? I mean, it ended up being a defensive battle, which is something like you said before. It's something we didn't expect. So, what are your thoughts overall on how this game kind of transpired?
This was a defensive battle. There's no other way to say it. I was definitely expecting more fireworks offensively from both teams. That just didn't happen. But the 49ers, they made the plays that needed to be made, and they executed just at a little bit of a higher level than the Cowboys did. Uh, when I look at the offense for the 49ers, granted, this was not their best performance. They only put up 19 points on the board. But to me, they stepped up when they needed it the most. They got a touchdown in the fourth quarter that kind of opened up their lead late in the game, and they definitely needed that. And I have to say, with Brock not having the best game statistically, last week I thought Brock lit it up for the 49ers. This was one of those games where he managed the game effectively by not turning the ball over. And to me, that was absolutely critical in this game because this game went from what we expected to be kind of more of like a high scoring game, not necessarily a shootout, but higher scoring than what we saw transpire in this game, to this is kind of a gritty game. Both defenses are playing up to snuff, and whoever is making the more critical mistakes at the worst times probably going to lose this game. That happened to be Dallas in this case, with Dak Prescott making those untimely errors and Brock Purdy not making those. So even though that Brock didn't have a touchdown, didn't light up Dallas's defense, he didn't do anything to squander the game for the 49ers, and that was huge because this is one of those games where the 49ers defense was the one that was the primary factor behind the 49ers advancing to the NFC Championship game. When you limit Dallas's offense to 12 points, that's sensational. Granted, they gave up the one touchdown early, but after that, they essentially locked it down by holding Dallas to 2 field goals for the rest of the game. And I know Dallas has had an up and down year offensively, but as far as I see it, Dallas's offense is still something to contend with. And the fact that they were able to get multiple turnovers against them in this game was absolutely critical for that 49ers offense. It kind of put them in a better position to be able to put points on the board, even though the points kind of came at a premium in this game. And it was enough for them to prevail and move on to the NFC Championship game. Now let me kick it to Dallas. Dallas squanders it again. They had ample opportunities to win this game. And as far as I see it, Dak Prescott pretty much lost them this game. The inopportune interceptions at the wrong times, you just can't have those untimely errors. And in a game where points are coming at a premium, like I already said, you just cannot make those errors. And maybe it's just the curse of Dallas. Maybe it's just Dallas's MO at this point. They just find a way to lose games at the worst times. And they haven't made an NFC Championship game in over 30 years. It's unbelievable that when the Cowboys are presented a situation where they can potentially be one step away from almost going to a Super Bowl, to make it to an NFC Championship game and then to possibly make it to a Super Bowl, they just can't get over the hump. And that's just their thing. And honestly, at this point, it's comical. I mean, I'm 27 years old. And I think the last time that they made an NFC Championship game, I think I was 1 month away from being born, or 2 months away, depending on the date. And, Dallas is a good team. But when it comes to the playoffs, they find a way to choke. And it's just kind of expected. Dallas is going to be one of those teams, no matter how you look at it, they can generate so much hype and so much excitement throughout the year. But when it comes to this point in the divisional round of the playoffs, they will fall short. And they did it again, just like last year. And it was kind of eerie how this year's divisional round essentially played out like last year's. They just couldn't make the plays that needed to be made. They fall short. And I know there's a lot more detail that I could go on about this game, but I'm going to just leave you with this. Dallas is going home, and honestly, I think they rightly deserve it based off of the turnovers that they had, the mistakes that they made. And with the 49ers are probably the best team in the playoffs right now. Obviously, that's an arguable point. You could say that the Eagles are based off of what they did to the Giants, but I'd be hard pressed to bet the 49ers right now. With that defense and with Brock Purdy leading the way offensively, with a coach like Kyle Shanahan on the sidelines, it's a tough team. That's a tough team to bet against as far as I see it. So, Kev, the floor is yours. I'll let you take it from here.
Dude, I have to laugh. As somebody who cheers for the Eagles, it's a little bit of a deeper laugh. So like ha 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 ha. It's funny, man. People tried to make the argument that Dak Prescott was a top 5 quarterback in the league, top 10, depending on who you asked. I mean, it really didn't make a difference, but neither of those were correct. He's got 17 or 18 interceptions in his last 12 or 13 games, tied with freaking Davis Mills for most in the regular season at 15. I mean, what are we talking about? Oh, their offense was incredible the second he got back. Oh, their record is 12-5 to end the regular season. Yeah. So, no MVPs, no Super Bowl appearances, no NFC Championship appearances, no meaningful playoff wins. We just beat the Buccaneers. We beat the greatest quarterback of all time last week. We are hot. 5 total touchdowns, blah, 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 blah. All these narratives, right? All these things. And yet here we are again. Same situation as last year. Same team to send you packing. Clock management was abysmal. Dalton Schultz is 100% going to get reamed in his exit interview or exit cleaning out his locker. His tight ends coach, offensive coordinator, as well as Mike McCarthy need to sit there and rip him a new one for that final drive, where it seemed to just be a lack of effort in that last few minutes, because he had 2 or 3 receptions to where he was very lazy. And by lazy, I mean he wasn't putting any effort to make some concrete plays happen. So he caught a ball on that final drive from Dak Prescott. He ends up getting hit without fighting for additional yardage or fighting to move forward. He allows himself to get hit, in which he takes backward steps and then goes out of bounds. What I'm getting at here is, in the NFL, in order for the clock to stop, you need to be moving forward and run out of bounds. You cannot absorb contact, let yourself take 2 or 3 steps backwards in bounds, and then go out. The clock continues to run. It looked like he caught the ball, just kind of let it happen, didn't really give a shit, right? On to the next play. He gets a ball, what was it, Kyle, like 20 yards downfield, catches it at around the 40, 45-yard line, and he puts no effort into getting his second foot down. It looked like he kind of just caught it, put a foot down, and just like, I'm done. It's over. He didn't try to emphasize. Usually people try to tap their feet. It's usually called a toe tap, just to make sure that they're inbound. It looked like he didn't really care, and he just let it kind of happen. So Dalton Schultz 100% is at least partially at fault to an extent, but definitely can't blame this Dallas defense. Micah Parsons out here throwing offensive linemen. DeMarcus Lawrence is out here just moving men ways that I've never seen possible. And they found a way to, like Kyle said, contain Brock Purdy and this offense to an extent to where they were kicking field goals most of the night. I think Robbie Gould had 4 or 5 field goals in this game. So this definitely was not because of Dallas's defense and their inability to get stops. This was the offense just sucking. Tony Pollard leaves the game, unfortunately, with an injury. Ezekiel Elliott wasn't able to get into a rhythm. Dak Prescott almost had 3 interceptions, instead had 2. It just kind of goes down over and over and over into the same list of, yay, Dallas did good in the regular season. Yay, Dallas has double-digit wins for the 150th year in a row. Who cares? If you're not winning in the season that matters most, which is the postseason, all you accomplish in the regular season is relevant. So there is no surprise here that Dallas choked. It's expected. And to those Dallas fans that try to talk shit because you beat a washed-up Tom Brady or a bad Tampa team, I just think you're silly. And I think that you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to football. So, yeah, Dallas goes home packing yet again.